Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Samantha and today I'm going to be sharing with you a brand new release from Morphe, and it is the 35M Boss Mood palette. So the packaging looks like this. It is black, it is matte, and then you have this glossy brush stroke there. There you have the Morphe logo, and at the top you have the name of the palette. So it's the 35M Boss Mood palette. On the back it looks like this, so again a little bit more of the same, so the name of the palette and a little bit more information. So then moving on to the actual palette itself, it looks like this. So again, matte and black, very professional looking, very simplistic. You've got the Morphe logo there, and then on the back again you have the circle with the 35M, so the name of the palette, which you know they always do with these palettes. This one retails for £23 and you can get it from the usual Morphe site. Links will be down below, and if you are lucky enough, now we have a London-based store, Morphe store, you can certainly pick it up from there, or if you are in the US, of course, your regular stores. Now this one, the packaging seems to have changed. It's a lot more square. They used to be more rounded and they felt very flimsy, but this is a lot more solid, a lot more well put together. So yeah, I really like that. Then on the inside, there's no mirror in this one, but you do get one of those plastic sheets, and these are all of your pans. Now I wish that they would put the names underneath the actual pans, because as we all know, these can go hurling across the room, they can get lost, they can damage the pans, all of that. So I do wish that they would pop the names underneath the pans there. But these shades, I particularly went for the greens up here, but there are this bunch of colours here. So you've got greens, a bunch of neutral browns there, you've got oranges, reds, purples, you have got a matte black, but you also have a shimmery cream shade as well. So you do get a lot of varying shades in here, and you get a lot of tones. So whether you want a green eyed look, a neutral eyed look, red, you know, orange, absolutely beautiful, or of course if you want purple, you can certainly do that, as well as smoking it out with all of these deeper tones as well. So this palette does give you a lot. Now I've swatched a couple of the shades to give you a little bit of an insight into the formula of this palette, and I've swatched 3 shimmers and 3 mattes here. So actually, let me just get my sheet because I'm not going to know the name. So the first shade is this one here, and it's called Electric Energy. So this is a shimmery shade. It's green, but it's got gold in it as well. Absolutely beautiful. The next one is the shade directly below it, and it's called Bossy AF. So it's this beautiful burgundy red shade, absolutely stunning. The next one I went for was a brown tone, and this one was called Hot to Trot. So there are the 3 shimmers, so you can get a really good idea of, you know, the shimmers within this palette. And then I went for 3 matte shades. So I went for this shade, which is called Nude Tude, which is a grungy greeny yellow, like a khaki colour I suppose. So that's that swatch. Then I went for a red tone, which is called and it's called Red Carpet, I believe. Is that the one, Red Carpet? Let me just double check. I don't think it was any of those 2. I know which one it was. It was Sweet Beats. So this one is Sweet Beats. And then the last matte shade I went for Stroke of Luck, which is this lime green tone. So there's the 3 shimmers, there are the 3 matte shades. What I will say about the shimmers, they seem to glide on, but and I've tried 2 looks this morning because I actually went in with the green tones and I wasn't happy with the look. It just came off very I don't know, flat. So then I went with another tone, completely different. I came up with this, and I'll be sharing how I did that. What I will say is the mattes seem to really stick. I had real problems with blending them out. I don't know if they've changed the formula or whether they've reverted back to an original formula. I'm not sure. But these really stuck on my eye, and I have had real problems creating a first eye look to be able to give you my thoughts on it. So I would say that the shimmers glided on, but there's not much payoff, even though these look absolutely beautiful in the pan. So with my first eye look, I actually used this shade here, so Electric Energy, which was the first swatch, and then I went over the top with this yellow tone, which is called Pop Star. There was no payoff, and I wet the brush, and for some reason, I don't know if my palette is faulty, I'm just not sure, but I've then gone in with a very, very bright red shade on the lid, and again I feel that it has it lacks it glides on okay, but for some reason it just doesn't look, I don't know, as good as it does in the pan. So I think that is my first thoughts. Obviously I will have to create a lot more looks with this, but the two looks that I've created this morning, because I had to wipe the green off totally, you know, get rid of it and choose another look because I just wasn't happy with it. Like I say, it I don't know, it just felt very under par for Morphe, and I've seen a lot of looks created with this palette because of the PR that they send out, and I like to see, you know, if it's going to, perhaps if the colours are going to work for me, and I felt that they would. But now I've got it in my hands and now I've tried it for the first time, I'm really unhappy with the formula of the mattes. Like I say, I have gone in with the greens. Not happy with how they applied. Not happy with the shimmers either. So I'm not sure if it's, I don't know. I've gone in with my regular base, which is the Revolution Pro Eye Elements in Central. I've done everything, you know, as I would normally, but for some reason those shades just stuck. So I think now what I'm going to do is try and, you know, do the same thing on this eye and see how I get on. And see, perhaps I needed to let the base sit, I'm not quite sure. So I'm going to go in first of all and use my Primark PS Eye Contour Brush, and I'm going in with the shade, let's have a look here, it's called FOTD, it's the red shade right in the middle of the palette, this one here, that one there. So I'm going in with that first of all. Now bearing in mind I have used a lot of Morphe palettes, and this is the first time that I've really had problems. I've not heard of anybody else having the issues that I've had. So yeah, let's try it on this side. So what I did was I went in with this shade here and then I took it up quite high, as I always do. Now that has gone on a little bit better, so perhaps with these shades the base needs to be set, or I need to let it set before I apply the shadow, but that has gone on certainly a lot better than, you know, the first shade. On the other eye. I'm going to get my fluffy brush and just blend this out here. That's better. I'm just going to go in because I need to get the pigmentation the same as the other side. So I need to go in here a little bit more. So that's definitely gone on a little bit better. Now what I'm going to do is change brushes, exactly the same style, just a different colour, and I'm going to go in with the shade Sparks Fly, which is this brown tone here, just to deepen it up a little bit. So I'm just going to start deepening up that outer V area. I must admit that when I swatched the shades on my arms, I even had problems there. So I'm not quite sure if they have changed the formula, or perhaps I'm just having a very bad makeup day, perhaps. Yeah, I can tell that it's now starting to stick and drag. I don't know what it is. It's not as difficult as the other eye, but I'm feeling that I'm having to really pull on my eye to get it to move and blend. So like I say, I'm not quite sure if they have changed this formula, or, you know, like I say, it's just the base that I'm using, whether I'm just having a bad makeup day, not quite sure. I'm going back to the first shade, so FOTD. I'm just going in on the same brush and I'm going to run that underneath. Like that, and join that up. That's definitely going on underneath the eye better, so perhaps it's just a case of letting the base settle, perhaps letting that dry a little bit, not quite sure, but that definitely went on a little bit better and blended out nicely. I'm just going to pop a little bit more on. Thing is, this is the first impressions, and of course, you know, I do need to, you know, try out more shades. I'm just disappointed I couldn't do the green, but I just wasn't happy with sharing it with you. That's better. Okay. So that is basically the mattes laid down. So I've added the FOTD shade, which is that one right in the middle there. And then I've gone in and deepened it with this shade here, which is called Sparks Fly. Now I'm going to go in with this shade, which is called Confidence. And what I wanted something bright. I wanted something vibrant to really make this look pop. And what I did find, another thing that I found difficult with this palette, was to give me a warm transitional shade without having a green or yellow hint to it. So if you look at all of the base shades, which are over here, you've got this one, this one, this one, and this one. So, you know, I'm using this shade. I wanted a neutral brown, kind of a warm brown shade to go on as the base, and I couldn't find one. In fact, I actually went in initially with this shade here, which is what I'm using to deepen it up. So I went in with that first as the base, and it just didn't work. So I think there is an issue. Perhaps there just needed to be a warmer transitional shade in this palette, because it's okay if you're going for a green-eyed look to use these kinds of, you know, colours that have that green tinge to them, that green hint. But when you're using these kind of colours, or purple, I don't necessarily want that kind of a base. I want it to be more of a neutral. And yes, I could have gone in with another shade from another palette, but I'm trying to test out this palette, and I think that's what my first issue was. All of the transitional shades are very much geared to these green tones here, and perhaps these tones here, where I don't necessarily want that green base, yeah, there's just not a nice enough transitional shade for me. So what I wanted to do was really add some kind of vibrancy to the lid. So I went in with the shade Confidence, which is that beautiful red. It's like a red orange. So that one there. and I wanted it to lift the look. And that was the problem with the green actually. It just looked too dark, and I wanted it to be a little bit more vibrant. That's going on nice. I'm just going to touch up this side. Yeah, that's definitely a lot better. I think the key perhaps to this palette is to definitely set your base, and if you, like me, don't really set your base, because there isn't a you know, a cream shade in here for you to do that. There is a cream shade which is light of the party, but it's shimmery, and that's actually the one that I'm going to use now for the inner corner. So I'm just going to get my brush. I'm just using one of these kinds of brushes there, and I'm going into that shade, so light of the party, which is that champagne shade, and I'm just going to go around the inner corner. And it is a beautiful, absolutely beautiful shade. Stunning. And it really does work. It's got a little bit of warmth to it, so it's going to work with a lot of the shades in this palette. So that is the base and the eyeshadow look laid down, and I must admit it's definitely gone on better on this side than it did on this side. I had so much dragging with the matte shades, and bearing in mind that I obviously removed the green, I then went in with my moisturizer on my eyes again, you know, the whole process of putting on that base again, and then I went in straight away with those shades. So as I mentioned a few moments ago, I think if you're going to use the mattes in this shade, in this palette, sorry, what you need to do is definitely set your base, or as in my case, I'm going to let it settle for a little while, and that will enable me to go in over the top of that base. I really, really like the look of this eye look. The green, I'm going to have to play around with those shades again, because I don't know, I'm not quite sure. I mean, I got them for the greens, but I'm not quite sure now if I actually like it or not. I'm just blending out that line there. I'm just going in with that colour again. I absolutely love this colour called Confidence. I think sometimes when you pick up a palette you think, wow, I'm going to pick it up for a certain colour, but actually, you know, I now like another colour more than the greens, which is bizarre because I picked it up for the greens specifically. I'm just putting on my eyeliner. As always, it's the Revolution HD Smoky waterproof liner. And I've put it all over my hands. So that is my look with the new 35M Boss Mood palette. So I really, really love this shimmery shade here, Confidence, which you can see on the lid there. Really like that. I think the whole look now has come together and looks really, really pretty. Absolutely love it. But yeah, that formula, the matte formula, a little bit tricky. Like I say, I'm not quite sure if they've changed it. When I did the swatches with the mattes, yeah, they did cling to my arm. I don't usually have any problems with swatches at all. You know, it's just a case of popping them on and sliding it on. But here I did have a little bit of, even, you can see they clung to that first part there on the arm. So yeah, and the shimmers, I must say, I think you may have to wet them again. Usually I use this one, which is the Obsession Pigment Boost Fixing Spray. I didn't with this colour, and with the greens that I used, that I shared with you, the shades that I used in the first look, I had to really wet them to get any vibrancy from them. This one is definitely a lot better. I'm not quite sure why, but yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts on this eye look. I would love to hear your thoughts. If you've picked this up, are you having the same problems? I'm not sure if it's because I've got a faulty palette, whether it's to do with the base, not quite sure, but this eye here has definitely come off a lot better, and it was easier for me to share that look with you, and I'm so pleased. I thought I was going to really struggle with that. So that is my first thoughts, my first impressions using this new Morphe palette. Of course, I would love to hear your thoughts, and as usual, as always, if you have just stumbled across my channel, I would absolutely love it if you subscribed to watch further videos. But as always, until tomorrow, thank you so much. In fact, actually, it might not be tomorrow. I might just have a little surprise second video. So do keep tuned, and certainly subscribe to watch further videos if you want to see that surprise video. But until later or tomorrow, thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Bye.